Hello, it's me again from www.themudhome.com, and this is the second in what's going to be a monthly video series on Surthrival, I would call it, not survival, Surthrival off-grid in an earth-loving, nature-loving fashion. And I'm making this video series because I can see rocky times ahead. And I can see very clearly a lot more people considering moving off-grid, and if you don't subscribe to various narratives that are out there right now, it's starting to look like that's going to be where you have to go. So this video is all about what for me is the most fundamental thing. If you get this right, you'll be okay, and if you don't get this right, you'll never be okay, no matter how many strategies and knowledge and other stuff you've got. And that is listening to your land. Now, ideally, even before you buy a piece of land, you want to kind of communicate with it, but and listen to it and observe. And I'm going to show some ways to do that in just a moment. But you become guardian of a piece of land when you buy it. I mean, we call it a purchase because that's the construct that we're in, but you might not have even bought it. You might be renting. You might be just have made an agreement to have to be on that land with somebody for any reason, and you have become guardian. Somehow that has happened to you, and that's a wonderful thing. And the difference really between arriving in that space and feeling you are alone, fighting against nature, which is the typical Hollywood portrayal of survival, and that's why I don't like that word, because it indicates that you're some kind of like lone wolf, as I said, fighting against the forces of nature. If you can choose to go down that road, you can choose to buy into that narrative if you want, but I can tell you now, it's going to make your life a lot more difficult. The other option is to see that instead of fighting against nature, nature is your friend. It is the supporting element for you, and that you are working with her to get what you want. You are not alone. You are not alone, and it's a very, very different way of approaching stuff. But it means you have to be a little bit more flexible. And the biggest mistake I see that people make, and I don't know how I didn't make this mistake, the biggest mistake that people make is they sort of think that this piece of land that they've bought is some kind of passive backdrop, some kind of static, lifeless backdrop to their dream. And that's a huge mistake. This is not a backdrop to your dream. So this is a living community that you are joining. And if you get that, if you see that, and it's actually a very welcoming community if you've chosen your spot right and well. If you get that, if you understand that principle and that difference, it's going to change everything. Now, every plot of land, every space on this planet is unique. It's unique with the creatures that are in it, the features. This piece of land is full, as you can see, of limestone rocks and ash trees. I'm sitting under one now. This is a peculiarity of this piece of land. My other piece of land in Turkey was very different. It's unique with the elements that run through it, whether it's got water running through it, the wind running through it, the sunshine, where the sunshine falls, the plants that are in it. All these things are completely unique. No piece of land is ever the same as anyone else's, and that's really why you can't follow other people's advice too carefully. And I would say that for me too. You know, don't follow what I'm saying if it goes against what you're feeling, what the land is telling you. Now, when you come onto a piece of land, it really pays to observe these features. You know, when I first came on here, I saw immediately these rocks really attracted me, and they're limestone. I could potentially make lime out of these. That always makes me happy to know that. Also the earth, knowing the earth that's around these rocks, because there's plenty of earth, and where clay deposits might be, where earthy deposits might be, and where the sandy bits are. Earth is quite an interesting, beautiful, living element that you are going to be working with so much. So it pays to observe what kind of earth you have. And yeah, when you arrive, you have to check, where is the sun? Where does it rise? Where does it set? Where is the water running? It's so important to understand where the rain water flows. I've seen this so many times. People think that they can channel water in some places, and you might manage that for a while. Generally, you won't. I can tell you now, generally, it will go wrong. And there's somebody actually, somebody up the road who's making this mistake. Trying to put a greenhouse in a place that doesn't clearly want a greenhouse, and it keeps being washed away time and time again, blown away or washed away. So this is what I'm saying. You know, you can go down that road like, I am going to have my way, and you will get your comeuppance, because nature is stronger than you. I don't care what you think. It's way stronger than you. And people often wonder why I'm okay here on my own, and this is why. I'm not fighting. I have a great friend and we work together, and that's why it's easy for me. Other things to notice are plants that you can forage on the land, different flowers, different plants, different seeds. You see here we've got plantain. I can see right there straight away, you know, I've got loads to forage on this land, but it's really good to know that where the natural berries are, where I've got a walnut tree down there, you see. So many features on one piece of land. And yeah, is it boggy? Look at if the land is boggy, or is it dry? Where does the wind blow? See, and I paid lots of attention when I came here. I still got things wrong. And I had to be here a year before I understood. I planted a lemon tree in the wrong place, which was the south part of the land, and seemed to get the most sun. And yet in winter time, it's a little microclimate up there of wind, and it gets frozen by a cold wind. It's very interesting. Microclimates are everywhere. They're really interesting to notice. You'll get them on my land, for example. That corner is the coldest. Very interesting. I've seen this on well, it's the same in Turkey. so many quirky little features your piece of land is going to have. And I'd say, really, your number one strategy for being a good land whisperer, if you like, or for really hearing and communicating with the land, is to ditch your plans, or let's say keep them very loose. I wouldn't say I don't have plans, but I keep them very loose, and I'm not fixed about how I think they're going to manifest. So for me, for example, if I wanted to put a greenhouse somewhere and I saw that it was the whole piece of land that I'd put it on was being washed away, I would stop there, personally. And I would sit and talk with the land and discuss where would be a good place for the greenhouse. Mostly, your land is on your side, actually. But if you don't want to hear it, that's kind of nothing the planet can do for you. Now, moving away, so that's kind of like the very physical elements I've talked about, the very physical kind of surthrival elements that you want to take note of. But there's another side too. And that's really about hearing the planet, which a lot of people will think it's woo-woo. And but I haven't got patience or time for that, and we haven't got time for that right now. So if you do think that, you're welcome to sign out. It's too important right now. So some people can hear the planet, and some people want to hear the planet. And if you're in either of those two groups, keep listening, because really the simplest way to sense what's going on in the macrocosm around you is to sit like I'm sitting now. I have a space, and this for me is my space under my tree, and I sit here. And it doesn't have to, I don't think it has to be a meditation. It can be walking too. Walking is also very powerful, I think. But sitting quietly with your land, or walking around your land, and just allowing your identity to shift. Because generally we think we are a consciousness stuck in a body. That is a belief. You can believe that or you don't believe that. Nobody out there could prove it or not. But that's, you want to move your identity from sensing that you are trapped, a small little powerless being trapped inside your body, to feeling, allowing your consciousness to expand into the land itself. You start to sense that you're not really confined to your body at all. You are part of something huge. You are part of this whole ecosystem of Gaia, and you're plugged into it. And once you start to sense that, you start to sense cues, as we used to do in the old days, and that knowledge is not so far buried beneath the skin. It really isn't. You start to sense the cues of nature. You start to notice when you're having a certain thought and the wind picks up, or the sun's rays touch your face, or it begins to rain, or a bird starts tweeting in a very excited manner, or you see an eagle, or you spot a badger. I can sense as I've spoken, everything went quiet. There was a kind of stillness on this land suddenly, for example. And once you start to sense those cues, sense that you're not just stuck, separated from everything inside a skin membrane, but that you are actually a part of all this, and that it's always communicating with you, everything changes. You are absolutely empowered. You are safe, and the land is on your side. That is the most important surthrival strategy you could possibly have right now. So next month will be something different, but that's the most important thing, definitely. I wanted to share that with the people who wanted to hear it. So good luck, folks. And if you want any natural building, off-grid information, go to www.themudhome.com. I also have an Earth Whispering blog there for people who like that kind of thing as well. I definitely I combine the practical and the spiritual, or the soulful, or whatever you want to call it, or the more creative. The two go together, in my opinion. And my site, the Mud Home, should reflect that. So, and if for those people who are still out there considering going off-grid and who haven't signed up for the free off-grid course, I will put it in the show notes, the link, and you can do that. It gives you some useful pointers as to what other things that you need to get straight in your head before you take off. Best of luck, everybody, and take care.